Good afternoon, everyone. How you guys doing today?
Doing
Hi,
well. Good
good.
afternoon.
Great. So, welcome to Jigsaw Parenting. I'm Sumitra Single, and today I have with me
Stephen Bax.
and
Sissy Fan Park.
and today I must tell you our topic I'm excited about. It is about staycations. And just in case somebody out there doesn't know what a staycation is, a staycation is when you are still living, wherever what city, town you live in, you decide to go on a vacation without leaving the city or town. The difference is you probably go stay at a hotel or Airbnb or something where you act like a tourist. So you go out there, you do tourist type things, whether that means going to a museum or going to the beach or going to wherever and going out to dinner and whatever the city or nightlife may bring you. And I'll tell you, I have three kids, and I started doing staycations. My little one is 12 right now, and she was about 2 when we did our first staycation, my husband and I. In fact, I think we started doing staycations before that word even got popular. And I really loved it. It was really cool. We made sure, maybe for that long weekend, we had babysitters in place. It was normally, like grandparents that were going to watch them or godparents and make sure everything was set for them. And then we went and stayed at some place, and especially living in Miami. I mean, there were beautiful hotels, there were wonderful places to stay at. And a lot of times, you don't go to any of these places unless you've got visitors coming into town and they're staying there. Because a lot of times, let's be truthful, our visitors are staying with us, right? So when they do want to stay at a hotel, that's when you see these places, or they may say, "Oh, I want to go visit this museum," or "I want to go to the beach." And sometimes those are the times that you go to these places because when you're doing the everyday life, you're just so busy going to work, taking care of the kids and all their activities. When do you make time for it? So I found most times we did it maybe in the springtime. I would say sometimes in the summer. And each time we did the staycation, we stayed at a different hotel. So that was cool. And we did different activities every time. Now, Stephen, have you done a staycation recently or at all?
Oh, I've done several. I'm trying to think. The last time I actually did one was before my wife passed away, and it was in Fort Lauderdale. We stayed at the hotel, and about a month before we lost her. And then I've joined others that come to visit in town. A lot of times I stay at Fort Lauderdale or Miami, and we just join them at the hotel. We'll go to the local parks. We'll go to the beach. I hardly ever go to the beach anymore, and I used to all the time as a kid. I don't have time anymore. You kind of forget about it. As summer approaches, I see us doing more of that. People will come into town, but it's hot.
It's hot.
It's hot at the beach. So I'll spend most of my time in the water. I will go out. We will go out kayaking in out of Alita State Park. Every time visitors come down there, we go out and do that. We go out to the Hullover Sandbar where you have 200 or 300 boats and loud music and food boats.
Food.
Yes, and it's a lot of fun. We went to do that this past weekend. They were full. You couldn't get into the park.
Mm-hmm.
So we went up to Hollywood and we went to Westlake Park and went kayaking through the mangrove swamps, through the nature trails and such. Very different feel and a lot of fun. Do I often stay in the hotels? Not since my wife has passed, although I will do it again. During the summer, I like to get someplace cooler. But I will definitely do it again. Maybe next spring break. Maybe just for a long weekend, that sort of thing. And it'll usually be on the beach. That's just the place to go. And the restaurants everywhere.
What's really cool about the staycation is you're not spending the money on the traveling, whether it be the airplane or the gas and the tolls. you're doing it right locally. So there really isn't any gas. It's kind of like, okay, it was the weekend and I spent the weekend driving around doing the things I normally do as far
Mhm.
as gas is concerned. So you already eliminate that cost factor. If anything, you're spending it on the hotel and you're spending it on the activities. So to me, it becomes a cheaper vacation. And
Yes.
not only that, because it's local, you're familiar. So it's not like you're driving around and you're like, oh, well, where is this and where is that? You already kind of know the lay of the land.
Yep.
So you know, oh, I'm going to avoid this area because it's going to get super packed, or I'm going to go here because I've been dying to go there. So I think that's a big benefit. And then maybe the extra money that you would have spent on the plane travel or the gas and the tolls, now you can put it toward an activity you're going to do if you wanted to.
Not only that, you can find specials, and well, if you're looking at a place that you're not familiar with, you're looking at the specials online, and you're like, well, I don't know if that's a good place or not. And
Right.
I mean, we went to
That's
a place
true.
in Canada a few years back, and we went to this one hotel. It was a bargain, but it had bed bugs. Uh,
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. First we walked in and we asked for no smoking, and we went in there and we went to the office and said, "That's a smoking room." He said, "No, it isn't." So there's an ashtray in the room with cigarette
oh,
butts.
but you can smell it.
right,
Yes,
right.
they put us in another room and there were bed bugs. Here, living at home or being at home, you look at the hotels, you know which ones you want to stay in, which ones
Hmm.
you don't. You know the hidden treasures, and
Right.
you can
Yeah.
find a bargain at some of these places. And if you know what's right around there, in a lot of ways, you're saving money gonna leave town. I mean, we supposedly live in paradise here. Uh, getting a nice place on the beach. Hollywood Beach is kind of a hidden treasure. People are starting to discover, but you can get a little hotel there and wake up in the morning and just walk right onto the sand, right
Hmm.
outside your hotel room.
And then you've got all those nice little eateries right
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
Tons of places to figure out what you want to eat, drink. It can
Hmm.
be, how they say it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, it's always 5 o'clock on Hollywood
Right.
Beach, right?
There's a
It
broad walk there.
really just depends.
You can rent bicycles there or bring your own. Riding right on the beach there. There's a paved path they call the Broad Walk,
Hmm.
and it's a couple miles long, and it's really nice.
Sissy,
Yeah,
have
kind
you
of
ever
movie.
done a staycation? Have you heard of that word
Um,
before?
yes, but we do it a little differently because
Okay.
the Dutch are cheap. We are way cheaper. So we really do a staycation. It's not worth. They see it like like Steven says, the risk of getting bed bugs or whatever. So they use the comfort of their home, but they still plan to do all the stuff that you normally the touristy stuff you do. Really
Okay.
visit museums and go to the beach, which you normally don't do because you're so
Mhm.
busy all the time,
Right.
or go see a movie or really
Mhm.
plan stuff for the whole week and use your own home and try to eat differently. So instead of cooking, let's go eat out or eat on the
Right.
road, or so you really get the vacation feeling, but you're still in the comfort of your own home. You can come whenever you want,
Mhm.
and shower comfortably without worrying about stuff being in the bedroom. It's not clean
Mhm.
enough or whatever. So we do have staycations, but we don't usually go to hotels.
That's
What
kind
I've
of
heard is
cool.
when people do go to hotels is when they escape their own home for parties for their kids. Then they go like, oh, let's figure out which nice hotel we can go to because now we're on our own.
Okay.
Then they'll do that. But otherwise, they're really cheap and they'll just stay in their own home comfort and then do the planning of all the outings.
That's
Well,
pretty cool.
I think one of my favorite staycations was several years ago when my youngest wasn't born yet. My oldest was rather young, and we left him with my in-laws, and we went to the South Beach Food and Wine Festival.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, and
They
it's
just had
great.
that. They just had that a couple of weekends
They
ago.
did, they did. And they also had one in Hollywood that they're starting. But
This
basically,
weekend,
they
I
give
think.
you a lanyard with a wine glass, and you walk around, and they fill it up, and you have all these foods you pay a set fee. You got to reserve a spot months ahead of time, and they had different events. Like we had the all day thing, where you go to booths. Let's get some lobster here, get some steak here, some oysters
Ooh,
there. Fill up some wine, the different types of wine you try. Then they had chocolate decadence night where they had
Oh my.
chocolate
Ooh.
liqueurs and chocolate cake and chocolate cigars even.
Ooh.
All dressed up for that. We met some chefs. I met Ted. We got a picture of my wife and I with Ted Allen, he does Chopped or something now. He used to do Queer
Okay.
Eye. He used to do Queer Eye for the Straight Guy.
Uh-huh.
And so we met him, got his autograph, and bought his cookbook and everything.
Have you made anything out
Then
of
we
the
had some
cookbook?
wine too. I'm sorry.
Did you ever make anything out of the
Oh
cookbook?
yeah, I still have it.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But it was a lot of fun because we were right on the beach. We didn't have to drive anywhere, and since we were
Mhm.
drinking anyway, we were walking around with a lanyard and a wine glass. So,
Right.
yes, it was a little pricey to get tickets to that Food and Wine Fest. Literally, it just happened, but they sell out in December, about 4 or 5
Okay.
months ahead of time, and it's a week of events,
Fun
all
though.
different types of events, and
That sounds like a lot of fun. I
that
really
was a
like
lot of
that.
fun. And we also now this isn't a staycation. It's a similar thing as Epcot does their Food and Wine Festival.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Have you been to the Food and Wine Festival?
I have many times.
I have not, and I have seen friends post about it, and I'm like, I gotta get there because I like to drink and I like to eat.
I've been going there since college.
Wow.
Yeah, we don't go every year, but my wife and I, before we had kids, we used to go every year.
That's nice.
When we were dating, it was just a lot of fun to go to, and then we brought the kids too. And there's some, now it's more difficult. The whole Disney thing, you have to make reservations at the restaurant now
Mhm.
months in advance.
Yeah.
You used to just go walk up there in the morning. Yeah, we want to eat here tonight, and you're fine.
No.
You can't do that
It's
anymore.
Well, it's so
no.
popular, and
Yeah.
I think because of we've got advertisements, if you think about it, from other people posting on
Yep.
social media that if you
Yeah.
didn't know about it, you know about it. So they become so popular that you have to do pre-planning, which kind of stinks because
It does.
you don't necessarily know that far in advance. Okay, this is the weekend I want to go and do that, especially as
It's true.
parents.
No, my wife and I, when we were dating, one of our first dates was with her church up to Disney. And I said, I'll be right back. I walked up to the castle, made reservations. And that night we were at the window watching the fireworks from our dinner table.
Oh my gosh, that's so
Nice.
nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you can't do that anymore. You gotta
Yeah.
schedule it months in advance, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
But we're getting away from staycations now. We're getting up to vacations, aren't we?
is.
exactly. Oh, that's true.
What
That's
is there to see in the Netherlands that I mean, we have our beaches here, and that's the big
the big draw.
the big draw.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What about in the Netherlands? What do you guys do for vacations? What's the
Well,
attractions?
we don't really have that much beautiful beaches because obviously the water is the sand. We don't have the beautiful blue beaches in sand. It's a clay kind of bottom, so the beaches look kind of. You'll be walking, not thinking, "Oh, what's that?" And it's what did my feet just touch? Because you can't see the bottom. So beaches, we go there. People lay around, try to get a nice tan, but it's
Mhm.
not about the swimming. So we get in the water just to cool off. So the beaches aren't a really draw. Most people like to visit the cities, look at the buildings and the little shops, and depending on where you go, find weed. So it's more about that kind of stuff. When you visit
Yeah.
Europe, it's about the culture. It's not about beaches and laying around. It's about looking at stuff, doing stuff you normally wouldn't do.
Okay.
Tourists like to hire bikes and drive around and see everything. And
Mm-hmm.
the public transportation too. Just sit in the sub or go with a train to one city to another because it's kind of different. So that's what people usually do around here. It's more a cultural thing and shopping and looking at stuff you normally wouldn't do.
Now we have
And food. We like food.
yeah. Well, we have done that. We have something called the Brightline, and we
Oh,
took it up
yes.
to Palm Beach just for the weekend.
Oh my gosh, we did that too.
Oh, it's a lot of fun. And
It's
we
so
stayed there
nice.
for just for the weekend. Went to Riviera Beach for some sea, some ocean, and
Mhm.
came back the next day. And Brightline, we don't have a lot of public transportation. Little by little, they're building them up here. The Brightline is nice. White leather seats. They serve you drinks on there on board. The waiting room, free snacks, and
It's
that
so
sort of thing.
nice. Stephen, you're so right. So, Sissy, in case you don't know, Brightline is this train that they have here, and it goes between Miami and the next county, Broward, Hollywood area. That's the stop. And then it goes to Palm Beach. And that's it. Those are the only stops. But when
It's going to go to Orlando.
Eventually, right? They haven't made it there yet.
They talked about making it to Tallahassee as well. They're already building the one to Orlando.
Okay.
They might go all the way to Tallahassee.
This train is like an airport, but it's really nice. And they have it's I find it like luxurious, and it's not even expensive. And just like he said, they've got food, they've got wine, they've got places to store your luggage. And for you over in the Netherlands, that may not be a big deal because, I've been to the Netherlands before, and your transportation is way better than ours here. But for us here in Miami, that's a big deal to have something like that on a train.
And free parking at the train station.
Yeah, it's really cool, nice and clean. Of course, when I went, it was about a year and a half ago before COVID hit. And I'm so happy we went at that time. Because, last year about March, they shut it down. So it's been basically non-existent for a while. So it's funny how from the different places between here in the US, specifically South Florida, compared to the Netherlands, how things are so different, even as far as transportation and the things that we find to be a big deal compared to over there, you guys seem to find is completely normal. Like your cobblestone streets are just amazing to me.
Yeah, and I hate them because recently I posted a picture with the stones, and someone was, oh, look at the stones. I like those stones make you trip and fall. I can wear my heels on those stones. I hate them.
Horrible to drive on.
Yeah, horrible. I'm always worried about my car driving around on them. I'm like, I can hear the sound. I don't like the sound. Are my tires all right? No, don't like them.
They're nice to look at. That's about it.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Nice to look at, but that's it.
Or great for visitors. So that's what
I'll tell you.
Go there. The visitors love it, but because you live there, you hate it. It's kind of like us down here. We like the beach, but the tourists, they come here, they always want to go to South Beach. That's not where we go. The locals don't go to South Beach. We
I go occasionally
there.
Well, we've done a couple staycations because of sporting events. Like when the Heat won the championship and when the Marlins won, we've done 3 staycations. We'd stay downtown Miami.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's museums there. There's an art museum that on one Saturday a month before the pandemic, they would have a cocktail hour where you just walk among the art and buy drinks and that sort of thing. It's only.
Listen, the cocktails make all the artwork look that much better all of a sudden.
Not only that, that particular art museum is right there. You can see the cruise ships from there. In the turning basin right there. Right next to it is a Frost Art Museum or a Science Museum, which I still not gone to. But
I haven't been there either.
Yeah, staying downtown there. And then they have the parade down the street. You don't have to worry about fighting traffic. You just walk downstairs and you watch the Heat go by or the Marlins go by or whatever. So we've done that 3 times, just staying downtown Miami. You got Bayside right across the street to go shopping. Lots of little.
You got the bay right there.
Yeah, And Midtown Miami is that's a lot of fun there. There's a lot of little bars and restaurants there. And people don't realize it. And so that's a fun vacation. It's sports themed when we do that, but there's a lot to do down there that you just don't. As a local, you just never really go there to do that.
You don't make the time.
I work with my dad during the summers, and he worked in downtown Miami. It's a different world down there from what it was in the 70s and 80s. So there's a lot to do that way. And there's no beach there in downtown Miami, by the way.
No, there isn't. It's just water. You take little, take a little boat ride
Yeah, they
for
have tour boats,
hours if you want. Right. It's a
the
bit of a
houses of the
different.
stars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
done that once. I did
yeah.
like the houses.
I have never had that.
Oh, the houses are beautiful, but remember, none of us here actually live in those houses or can afford
I
them.
know, I know.
Well, another thing you can do is a water taxi in Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, and
Really?
that's like $40. Jump on and jump off as many times as you want, and it stops at bars and restaurants all up and down Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood.
Hmm.
And they also
Okay.
give you some history of the area, of different, like, here's where Farrah Fawcett and Lee Majors lived.
Okay.
Here's where the Huizengas lived, and a lot of the Burt Reynolds lived here, and that sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a water taxi. You can jump on and off as many times as you want. I think it's $40 for the day,
I
and
may
Oh, that's
also do
great.
that.
you can bring your own drinks on if you want.
Oh, all right. You
Oh,
Yeah,
got me sold. I'm
and,
coming.
and because
yeah.
it's on the coastal, the drinks are cheaper than they are on the beach.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
they'll give you a plastic cup, and you can take the drink with you if you want. So
That's
Oh,
great.
wow. So you don't have to put it in your bag.
Well, yeah, exactly. I can smuggle it in.
right.
Smuggle it in.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you don't have to do that. You don't have to hide it. They're fine with you drinking right
Okay,
on
that's
there.
great.
And it goes up to Las Olas, and it comes down to Hollywood.
That's really nice.
I think one of the jump-ons is the Diplomat in Hollywood, which is closed right now, but
Uh,
it's all up and down there.
Well, I think for me, this has been a fun topic. It makes me all ready for the summer
Yeah.
to go get into something. But I am going to switch it up to one of our current events that happened here. So, not more than a few weeks ago, unfortunately, I heard about on the news there was a young lady, age of 16, went out just to go jogging. And they ended up finding her dead on the side of the road. And it took several days for them to find out who they identified as the suspect. It was a man who was driving a vehicle. Um, and I'm thinking to myself, a 16-year-old trying to jog, trying to maintain their exercise, stay in shape, not do what some of us do where we wait till we get older to decide we want to we want to get back in shape. She's trying to do this while she's young. And because we have such great weather down here, you've got walking, you've got jogging, you even have bicycling. And I know in the Netherlands, bicycling is huge. Well, I just don't understand, why isn't it that we can't feel like we can go outside and do these types of events and still have to be so concerned about our safety that our kids are gonna leave the house and not come back. I was mortified when I heard about this.
yes.
Do you guys
It's
have
it's
stuff like that happens over there, Sissy? With the biking?
um
Like with people getting hurt or
well, not very regularly because I have to admit, I have to tell you, I run too, and I
okay.
do so sometimes 5 a.m. in the morning. And right now, with the weather is clear, it's already light, but in the winter it's dark. And I know
Okay.
my family always worries about me, and I wear lights, but I have to be honest, it doesn't happen that often here. And when it does, it's because there is a predator around that
Okay.
has been bothering different people. So, but let's say road accidents with cyclists or runners, for that matter, it doesn't happen too often. And whenever it does, it's a huge thing because of it. And people really try to find out whatever who it was, because we want our children safe here. And here the children are brought up pretty quickly going on their bikes alone to school. So they want the road to be safe, so they don't have to worry about their kids going to school on their bicycles, because it's very normal thing here. As soon as you're, let's say, from 12 age to up, the kids are going to school all by themselves on the bicycle.
Well,
So something like this happened to a 16-year-old, it would be troubling here. Yeah.
and I grew up bicycling. I grew up down here too. I grew up bicycling to school every day from middle school on up into high school until I got a car. And at one point it was 11 miles a day that I was bicycling,
Wow.
and it
Is
wasn't
that
a problem. What's
to
that?
and from?
To and from, yes. I also had a
Wow.
paper route, so that was part of it. Where
Okay.
if you don't know what a paper route is, basically you're delivering newspapers from your bicycle.
I
Um,
know.
It was
used
a
to have
toss.
newspapers. Okay. Uh,
Stop it.
I tell my students I was a paper boy. They look at me funny.
Yeah,
Uh,
because they don't even know what
they
that
don't know
is.
what that
It's
is.
a paper
No,
boy.
what's a newspaper? You know, but so I used to do that on a regular basis. What I have noticed, for one thing, South Florida is built up so fast growing up here.
Mhm.
And every city wants to be labeled a bicycle-friendly city. Miami-Dade County did that, and all they did to make themselves bicycle-friendly is they
Just
painted
put
a
a
white
little.
stripe along the side of the road.
Mhm.
So you're supposed to, as a bicycle, stay in that stripe. And I've done 30, 40-mile treks around Miami, and that's not safe. Now, if you go to New York City, they're trying to be more bicycle-friendly, but they put an actual curb there. And they have the
Yeah.
city bikes everywhere, but they put a curb there. Same thing when I went to China. In China, they have a wide bicycle lane with an actual median between that and the cars. We don't always have the space to do that, but if you have the space to put a white stripe there, you have the space, I think, to put a curb, at least a 6 or 8 inch curb that'll at least just turn the cars back
Give
into
the
the road.
separation, like
Yeah,
a more
Yeah.
clear. Yeah, because here there seems to be zero respect for the pedestrians, the bicyclists, the joggers, the walkers. It's they're in the car, people are in the car, and they feel like those people are bothersome, and it shouldn't be like that. So it sounds like
Yeah.
over there, Sissy, you guys are the complete opposite. It's a normal thing, and because of that, because it's a normal thing, people treat it as such, and
yeah.
here they
Yes.
don't.
Yes. It's. I remember driving my car around. Sometimes I'll get annoyed when there are a group of bicycles, friends like 4 or 5, taking up the whole road, swirling around, and I'll honk once, but I'll still keep my distance because the laws here are if I hit a cyclist or a pedestrian or whatever, it's the blame is on me. I'll have to pay for whatever cost that follows, and you'll be so shame, let's say, put in such a bad bad
Right.
place for doing that. So it's, you've been young, you've done this, but still you'll go very easily on them because you've done this, and you'll just honk and wait for them to get aside. It's so normal, and you respect that. Even though the cyclists sometimes don't take the road for granted and go like the cars will have to wait because we're having a conversation, or they'll have their music on, or be checking out their phone. But you've been young, you've done this, so we'll wait. It's really respectful
Right.
for
Right.
the
You
Right.
know.
cyclists just to wait for them to pass. And there are roads where we do have a curb, and they also paint the cyclist roads red, so they really stand
Oh, that's
out.
good.
So when you to keep your distance, and runners will, when the road ends, and they'll go on the bicycle roads just to keep safe, and the cars will pay attention for, okay, here's where the cyclist road ends, and everyone comes together on my side of the road, and you just wait for it to narrow down so they can pass. So it's really quite normal, and I don't understand cars thinking, well, they'll have to move. I'm coming. So it's really turned around here.
Well,
Well,
we
I
do.
hope it gets better here
Well,
because
once a month they do have a bicycle takeover in Miami-Dade County where they get all the bikes just take over the road. And on the weekends here in my area in Pembroke Pines, there are 200 or 300 bicycle groups. There are groups of 200 or 300 bicycles that just kind of take over the road, and they do it every Saturday and Sunday morning, and they just do a bike ride. They usually stay to the side, and it's a wide enough road the cars can go on the other side. And for the most part, there are no incidents there. I still think they need to have some curbing because,
yeah.
especially with teenage drivers and not just teenagers, sitting there texting and driving and not
Mhm.
really paying attention, and they clip bicycles all the time. And as somebody that's ridden half the length of the Keys, and I'm looking forward to bicycling the full 100-mile length of the Keys, it gets
You
really
want to know that you're going to be safe.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and a lot of times cyclists get hit and killed along that route.
Yes, 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 unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately that's not the greatest topic, current event, but it's stuff that's happening and we've got to address it. But I definitely want to thank you guys for joining us today at Jigsaw Parenting. This is Sumitra Single, and I had with me
Stephen Bax.
and
Sissy Venfart.
and we'll see you guys next time, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye.